Good morning, St. Louis. Welcome to the City Museum. This once repurposed shoe store is now a large fun house for kids and adults of all ages. If you can find a hole in the ground, it is probably a secret passage. Or it can just be a hole. Who knows? Once opened in 1997, this museum attracts more than 700,000 visitors. It is quite the staple of St. Louis history. The one question remains, how do we actually get there? Alright, so the pathway to the City Museum just consists of a lot of turns, one giant long road, and then just more turns again. But luckily, it shouldn't be that too hard. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is get out of Parkway, and then you have to turn left onto Clayton Road. Then you turn left on the Southwood Mill Road, and then at the traffic circle, as it says, continue straight to stay on Southwood Mill Road. Then you turn right onto South Outer 40 Road, and use the left lanes to merge onto I-64, then all the way, then you merge into, US 40 and keep going on I-40 East and just make sure you keep staying there. That's the long road I was talking about. But when you see the exit for Jefferson Avenue, which is like around here, you're gonna have to turn around for that. Then you basically have to follow Jefferson and Delmar to the destination. You take two left lanes onto Jefferson Avenue, you turn right onto Delmar Avenue Boulevard. You turn right into North 16th Street, then you just turn left and turn right, and there you are. Now, one thing just that you know is that there's two parking spaces, one on the outside and one on the inside. The inside is $10, the outside is $20, so just take your pick. Once you walk yourself into the parking area, you will see multiple snake-like creatures surrounding the entire parking lot. These are what's called the serpent fence, and it consists of 500-foot concrete snakes with piercing iron rods throughout the whole structure. This was created in 1994 and was the first building to be showcased at the City Museum before anything else was revealed. This was a hint about what's yet to come. Right when you walk into the City Museum, you are going to see the monstrosity that is monstrosity. It features two Saberliner aircraft fuselages suspended way high in the air, even contains a fire engine, two castle turrets, and all these slinky tubes that children can climb through and to connect to all the other attractions. It also leads to a very high slide, which unfortunately has closed, and two ball pits, one for the young kiddies and one for the older kids, which they both get really hectic. As we arrive through the doors, we find ourselves at the first floor, and the first thing you see is this giant sign that specifically states that no maps will be given. Well, except for this one, but we don't count that. We soon come across the gift shop and the bar, which was actually the home of the son of Daniel Boone and was owned by the Hetzel family for more than a century. Alright, please direct your attention to this mega structure. This is called the Giant Whale. This was created by the Casilli crew, and it's famous because it's one of the first structures that they ever made during the City Museum's construction. This is basically a simple ramp that takes you to this upward area above the little pond there, and it is also a very large one, and it stands out from the rest of all the structures. While the bowhead whale is certainly a head-turner, nothing comes close to the enchanted caves and the shoe shafts. Originally opened in 2003, the caves are an elaborate system of tunnels hand-sculpted by Bob Casilli and his crew. One of the most not noticeable but very iconic pieces in the caves is the organ. It was first made in the Rivoli Theater in New York, and now this 1925 organ and its 1,106 pipes were carefully cleaned and assembled in the caves. Sometimes you can hear them play when there are performers. Fun fact, when the welders were building it, it briefly set on fire after the first week it was completed. Now here's the real attraction of the caves. This is the 10-story slide, which stands at an impressive 10 stories tall. Who would have guessed? This was originally used as shoe shafts. They were used to bring shoes down from or up from a higher level down to the loading docks down at the lower levels. After the museum bought it, it was soon repurposed as slides. They basically polished it up, and it was made into a 3-story slide in 2003. 5 years later, they added the 10-story slide that starts from the roof and leads down to the cave's entrance. There's also a 5-story slide that you can use if you're too scared, but like, come on, who wouldn't do the 10-story slide? Like, really? Here up on the second floor, we come across the mezzanine, also known as the food court for the museum. It is also known for having the distinct lizard theme. Now onto the newer side of the City Museum, we arrive at the Archquarium. It's a clever pun, I love it. It began in late 2018, and the crew began building whimsical salt and freshwater tanks and pools on the second floor to be homes for hundreds of real and imaginary sea creatures. The visitors can even dunk their hands in doctorfish to get their hands clean, and we all know that's a fun time. Alright, soon we move up to the 3rd floor, but apparently the 3rd floor is the largest out of all of them because it has so many attractions. So instead I'm going to do a quick lightning round to explain them all. First up, we have the Skateless Park. It opened on the museum's 5th birthday, and this 7,500 square foot park is basically a skate park, but without the burden of having a skateboard. And now, weighing in at an impressive 21,500 pounds and standing up to 76 feet in length, this has the equivalent of 1.9 million regular number 2 pencils and includes 400 pounds of graphite and a 250-pound rubber eraser. It was created in 2005 for the 76th birthday of Sir Chinmoy by Arisha Furman, who donated to the museum in 2009. It is the world's largest pencil! I don't know what this is, but I love it. We also see Beatnik Bob's, which is unfortunately closed for a moment, but it also comprises of a collection of vintage video and pinball games, a concession stands, a bar and coffee shop, and there's also the world's largest pair of underwear. What? Right outside Beatnik Bob's is a working 1/8 scale model of an Alco train that children under 48 inches tall can ride. Also past it is the Toddler Town, which was actually built to amuse Bob Casilli's own children. Next is the largest part of the City Museum, which is the Architectural Museum. This features a bunch of ancient carvings and structures, and right next to it is the Insectarium, which features insects, spiders, crustaceans, and all sorts of other arthropods. This is an old grand piano. This is my favorite. This is the museum's most popular attraction, the Monster Slide. Finally, we have the DLC of the City Museum, the Rooftop. It was created to add more playing space to the City Museum, for a small fee, of course. First up, we have the Planetarium Dome, which was salvaged from the Science Center's remodel. Next, we have the Big Ellie Ferris wheel, which was built in Illinois in the 1900s, but it was reassembled and started up in 2008. Third, we have the Roxana School District School Bus, which was an attempt to just hang a bus off a roof. There really wasn't a reason doing it, they just did it because it looked cool. I'm not even joking. Next we have these sleeping hippos that were originally from the New York City Central Park, but then was moved to the City Museum. Finally, we have the giant praying mantis, originally commissioned by the Missouri Botanical Gardens. This 300-pound, 20-foot tall structure is a carnivorous manatee that was moved to the entrance of the City Museum to be closer with its artist. Phew, what a ride. I'm glad you all enjoyed that. Oh, I almost forgot. Here's the interview that totally went right and nothing ever happened. Totally didn't stumble or anything. And what is your name?
I'm Chelsea.
How long have you worked here?
I've worked here for just under a year.
Oh, just under a year. So how much do you know about the place?
I know a good amount. There's some historical stuff I don't remember, but I know my way around pretty well.
Do you know about how all these cool art stuff comes by? Like all the any of those little pillar things? Or do you know anything about that, or how I find the artist?
Yeah, I know some of it. I know a lot of it was donated. Like this wall over here was originally baking pans, and then a university used it as lab rat containers, and then they donated it to us.
And
what's your favorite thing about working?
What's your favorite thing about the City Museum?
I love that it's basically a place for everyone to be a child. Even as working here, it's pretty fun and relaxing.
Well, I can definitely say about that. Thank you so much.
Of course.